There is a feeling, a cognitive haze so common in our modern world that we have given it a name: brain fog. It is the sensation of thinking through mud, the frustrating search for a word that is right on the tip of your tongue, the inability to focus on a single task for more than a few minutes. It is often accompanied by its relentless partner, a deep and persistent fatigue that no amount of sleep seems to cure. We have come to accept this state of being as a normal consequence of modern life. We blame our age, our stress, our busy schedules, or a poor night's sleep. We drink another cup of coffee and push through, believing that this is just the price we have to pay. But what if this is a profound and dangerous misdiagnosis? What if your brain fog and fatigue are not a result of your life, but a direct result of your lunch? What if the foods you are eating, often the very foods you believe are healthy, are silently dismantling your brain's ability to function? Stay with me because today we are going to expose the 5 key food groups that are the primary architects of this mental haze. And by the end of our journey, you will understand the single most deadly mistake millions of people make when trying to eat healthy for their brain. And you will learn the shocking secret of how these foods are not just making you feel tired and unfocused, but are actively creating a state of a brain on fire. A state that, if left unchecked, can have devastating consequences for your long-term cognitive health. Before we can unmask the culprits on our plate, we must first develop a profound respect for the organ they are targeting: your brain. The 3-pound universe nestled between your ears is, without question, the most complex and energy-demanding object in the known universe. While it only accounts for about 2% of your body weight, your brain consumes an astonishing 20% of your total daily oxygen and calorie intake. It is a metabolic furnace, burning through energy at a rate 10 times higher than the rest of the body. Every single thought, memory, and emotion is the result of billions of neurons firing in a perfectly orchestrated symphony, a process that requires a constant, stable, and high-quality supply of fuel. The key word here is stable. Unlike your muscles, which can store their own fuel in the form of glycogen, your brain has very limited energy reserves. It is entirely dependent on the fuel that is delivered to it moment by moment through your bloodstream. When that fuel supply is erratic, unstable, or of poor quality, the entire symphony begins to falter. The conductor loses its rhythm, the instruments fall out of tune, and the result is the chaotic noise of brain fog. But the story of how food affects your brain is not just a story about fuel. It is a story about communication. And the most important conversation is happening in a place you might not expect: your gut. Your digestive tract is lined with over 100 million nerve cells, a network so vast and complex that it has been rightfully named your second brain. This second brain is in constant, direct communication with the brain in your head via a massive information superhighway called the vagus nerve. This is the gut-brain axis. Furthermore, your gut is home to trillions of microorganisms, your gut microbiome, which are not just passive residents but active participants in your neurochemistry. These tiny microbes help produce many of your most important neurotransmitters, including over 90% of your body's serotonin, the feel-good molecule that is crucial for mood and cognitive function. The food you eat is the primary determinant of which microbes thrive in this internal ecosystem. When you eat a diet rich in whole, fiber-rich foods, you cultivate a diverse and healthy garden of beneficial microbes. When you eat a diet high in processed foods, you are essentially fertilizing the weeds, promoting the growth of inflammatory bacteria that can send stress signals up the vagus nerve directly to your brain. The final piece of this foundational puzzle is understanding the brain's security system, the blood-brain barrier. This is a highly selective, tightly woven network of blood vessels and cells that acts as a gatekeeper, meticulously controlling what is allowed to pass from your bloodstream into the delicate environment of your brain. It is designed to let in the good stuff: oxygen, nutrients, and hormones, while keeping out the bad stuff, like toxins, pathogens, and inflammatory molecules. But this protective barrier is not invincible. One of the most powerful forces that can compromise its integrity is chronic, low-grade inflammation. And the primary driver of chronic inflammation in the modern world is our diet. The very foods we are about to discuss are potent triggers of this systemic inflammation. They create a state of a body on fire, and this inflammation can cause the tight junctions of the blood-brain barrier to become leaky. When this happens, the gatekeeper is compromised. Inflammatory molecules from your body can now cross into the brain, activating the brain's own immune cells called microglia. When these microglia are chronically activated, they create a state of neuroinflammation, a brain on fire. And the primary, most noticeable symptom of a brain on fire is profound brain fog and debilitating fatigue. Now that we understand the battlefield, let's unmask the saboteurs. The first, most pervasive and most destructive culprit is refined sugar, in all its many forms. This includes the obvious table sugar or sucrose, but also its industrial cousin that lurks in countless processed foods and drinks, high fructose corn syrup. We have been conditioned to see sugar as a source of quick energy, a harmless treat that gives us a temporary lift. This is a dangerous lie. For your brain, refined sugar is a metabolic poison that attacks its function through at least 4 distinct and devastating mechanisms. The first and most immediate is the blood sugar roller coaster. When you consume a concentrated dose of sugar, it is absorbed into your bloodstream with incredible speed, causing a massive spike in your blood glucose. Your brain, for a brief moment, is flooded with fuel. But your body perceives this as an emergency. Your pancreas releases a huge surge of the hormone insulin to quickly shuttle that sugar out of the blood. The problem is, this response often overshoots, pulling too much sugar out of the blood. This leads to a subsequent blood sugar crash, a state known as reactive hypoglycemia. And this is the moment that brain fog descends like a thick blanket. With its primary fuel source suddenly in short supply, your brain's function plummets. You feel tired, irritable, anxious, and completely unable to focus. You develop an intense physiological craving for more sugar to bring your levels back up, and the vicious cycle begins again. The second mechanism is more insidious and long-term, the development of insulin resistance in the brain. When your brain cells are repeatedly exposed to these massive waves of insulin, they start to protect themselves by becoming less responsive to its signal. It's like they are plugging their ears to the constant shouting. This means that even when there is plenty of glucose in the blood, your brain cells lose their ability to effectively pull it in and use it for energy. Your brain cells are literally starving in the land of plenty. This phenomenon is so profound and has such a strong link to cognitive decline that some neuroscientists have begun to refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes. The third mechanism is the creation of a state of a sticky brain. Sugar molecules in your bloodstream can attach themselves to proteins and fats in a process called glycation. This creates harmful inflammatory compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are like little pieces of cellular rust. They create massive oxidative stress and damage the delicate structures of your brain, including your neurons and blood vessels, further fueling neuroinflammation. Finally, sugar directly hijacks your brain's reward system, leading to a state of addiction that mirrors that of hard drugs, driving the cycle of craving and consumption and making it incredibly difficult to stop. Our second culprit is a close relative of sugar, a wolf that often comes disguised in sheep's clothing, refined grains and industrial flours. This is the world of white foods: white bread, white pasta, white rice, crackers, pretzels, and most baked goods. We often don't think of these foods as being sugary, but to your metabolism, they are virtually indistinguishable. These grains have been stripped of their bran and germ, the parts that contain all of their fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What is left is the pure, naked starch, which your body digests and converts into glucose with breathtaking speed. A slice of white bread can raise your blood sugar faster and higher than a spoonful of table sugar. Therefore, every single one of the destructive mechanisms we just discussed for sugar, the blood sugar roller coaster, the promotion of insulin resistance, the creation of inflammatory AGEs, applies equally to these refined carbohydrates. They are, in a very real sense, sugar in disguise. But for a significant portion of the population, there is an additional layer of neurological assault that comes from these grains, and it is related to a specific protein: gluten. For individuals with celiac disease, an autoimmune condition, the ingestion of gluten triggers a powerful immune attack on the small intestine. But there is a growing body of evidence for a condition called non-celiac gluten sensitivity, where individuals test negative for celiac disease but still experience a wide range of symptoms, including profound neurological symptoms like brain fog, headaches, and fatigue when they consume gluten. The proposed mechanism is that gluten can be a trigger for inflammation and can contribute to a leaky gut. In sensitive individuals, this can lead to an immune response that creates antibodies that, through a process of molecular mimicry, may cross-react with and attack tissues in the brain, creating a direct state of neuroinflammation. For these individuals, the healthy, whole wheat sandwich they are eating for lunch is a direct and potent trigger for their afternoon brain fog. Our third saboteur is a substance that has quietly infiltrated nearly every corner of the processed food supply: industrial seed oils. These are the highly refined inflammatory fats like soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, and sunflower oil. For the past half-century, we were mistakenly taught to fear the natural saturated fats found in butter and coconut oil, and to replace them with these supposedly heart-healthy vegetable oils. This may go down as one of the most catastrophic mistakes in the history of nutrition. These oils are problematic for two primary reasons. First, they are incredibly high in a type of polyunsaturated fat called omega-6 fatty acids. While we do need some omega-6 fats, our modern diet provides them in a massive, unnatural excess, creating a severe imbalance with the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. This lopsided omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is one of the single biggest drivers of the chronic, systemic inflammation that lies at the root of almost every modern disease, including neuroinflammation. The second problem is the very nature of these oils. They are highly unstable and prone to oxidation, especially when heated. When they oxidize, they create a cascade of free radicals that cause massive oxidative stress in the body. This is critical because your brain is made primarily of fat. The cell membranes of your neurons and the protective myelin sheath that insulates your nerve fibers are composed of fatty acids. Your brain needs a constant supply of healthy, stable fats to build and maintain these critical structures. When you consume a diet high in these damaged, inflammatory seed oils, you are essentially providing your brain with faulty, low-quality building materials. You are building a brain that is structurally weak and inherently inflamed. This is like trying to build a sturdy house with wet, moldy drywall. The very integrity of your neural architecture is being compromised, and the inevitable result is poor communication between your brain cells, which you experience as brain fog and slow thinking. Our fourth culprit is a category of substances that we consume under the guise of being healthy alternatives: artificial sweeteners. We are talking about the zero-calorie sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin that are found in diet sodas, sugar-free yogurts, and a vast array of other processed foods. We choose them because we believe we are avoiding the dangers of sugar, but we may be trading one set of problems for another, particularly when it comes to the health of our gut-brain axis. A growing body of research is showing that these non-nutritive sweeteners can have a devastating impact on our gut microbiome. Because they are not digested by us, they travel to the colon where they are consumed by our gut bacteria. The problem is, they appear to act like an antibiotic, killing off many of our beneficial bacteria while promoting the growth of more harmful strains. As we've learned, disrupting this delicate ecosystem is one of the most direct ways to send inflammatory stress signals to the brain. Furthermore, these sweeteners create a profound state of cognitive dissonance in the body. Your tongue tastes an intensely sweet flavor, a signal that has, for millions of years, meant that a large dose of energy is on its way. Your brain prepares for this influx of calories, triggering the release of hormones like insulin in what is known as the cephalic phase insulin response. But then, the energy never arrives. This mismatch between the perceived taste and the actual caloric content can, over time, disrupt the very pathways that regulate your appetite and your metabolism. Your brain essentially learns not to trust the signal of sweetness, which can lead to increased cravings for real sugar and a dysregulated response to food in general. While the debate on their long-term safety continues, it is clear that for many, these artificial chemicals are not a free pass. They are a potent disruptor of the gut-brain conversation that is so critical for mental clarity. Our fifth and final category is a broad but critically important one: processed foods and their payload of artificial additives. This is the world of prepackaged meals, fast food, and snack foods that are designed for a long shelf life and hyperpalatability, not for your neurological health. These foods are a Trojan horse. They are not just a source of the refined sugars, refined grains, and industrial seed oils we have already discussed. They are often a combination of all three, plus a cocktail of artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, and flavor enhancers. One of the most well-known of these is monosodium glutamate, or MSG. MSG is an excitotoxin. This means it can overstimulate your neurons, exciting them to the point of damage or death. For sensitive individuals, this can manifest as headaches, fatigue, and brain fog. Many other artificial additives, from colorings like Red 40 to preservatives like sodium benzoate, have been linked in some studies to neurological issues, particularly in children. The problem with these foods is that it is a multi-pronged assault. You are simultaneously flooding your body with inflammatory ingredients while depriving it of the very nutrients, the B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, and antioxidants found in whole foods that your brain desperately needs to protect itself and to function optimally. So now that we have unmasked the 5 primary saboteurs of your mental clarity, we arrive at the antidote. The solution is not about a perfect restrictive diet. It is about a paradigm shift. It is about understanding that food is not just calories. It is information. It is a set of instructions that you send to your brain with every single bite. The path to a clear, focused, and energetic mind is paved with the foods that provide the right set of instructions. It begins by consciously crowding out the culprits with their powerful, brain-boosting counterparts. You must prioritize the fats that build a strong, resilient brain. The omega-3 fatty acids found in wild-caught fatty fish, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. You must eat a vibrant rainbow of colorful plants, leafy greens, berries, and deeply colored vegetables to provide your brain with the army of antioxidants it needs to extinguish the fires of inflammation. You must embrace the power of fiber from whole food sources to cultivate a thriving gut microbiome that will, in turn, send signals of calm and well-being to your brain. And you must ensure you are providing the essential micronutrients, the B vitamins from leafy greens and quality animal products, and magnesium from nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate, that are the spark plugs for your brain's energy production. We now return to the deadly mistake and the shocking secret. The deadly mistake that so many people make is that when they feel the fog descend, they reach for another one of the culprits as a solution. They drink a sugary energy drink, they grab a bagel or a pastry for a quick lift, or they opt for a diet soda, believing they are making a healthy choice. They are, in a tragic irony, pouring gasoline on the very fire they are trying to put out. The shocking secret is this: your brain fog is not a symptom of a tired brain. It is the symptom of a starving and inflamed brain. It is the cry for help from an organ that is being systematically deprived of the stable energy it needs to function, that is being damaged by a constant state of inflammation, and that is having its fundamental communication lines disrupted. It is not a passive state. It is an active process of neurological distress. But in this secret lies our ultimate power. Because if our choices can create this state, then our choices can also reverse it. You are the architect of your own mental clarity. The path to a sharp, vibrant, and energetic mind does not begin in a pharmacy or a coffee shop. It begins at the end of your fork.